Welcome to the Sports Marketing Machine Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Nizer. This is the podcast for those working in sports looking to level up their marketing skill sets so that you can sell more tickets and grow your fan base. Super excited about today's episode, talking all things promotional giveaways for teams with the cool kids, Heather and Carie from Destroyer.Rocks. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so you two have been working in sports industry and providing promotional sports items or items for sports teams for over 20 plus years. So Destroyer's been around for a long time. So you've been there, done that, seen it all, and then also on the merchandise side as well. So just a quick little background. How long have you two been working with Destroyer?
So I've been with Destroyer for 20 years. I started off doing graphic design work and basically all of the design work as far as that's concerned. And then I kind of evolved into this role of National Director of Sales and Marketing. So it encompasses pretty much anything except paying the bills. Um, so that's kind of where my role lands right now. And like you said, I've been here. I'm never gonna say I've seen it all because that's the one time I say that I'm gonna jinx myself. But I've seen a lot, and yeah, it's a really fun place to be. It's a really a fun industry to be in.
No doubt about it. Heather?
I'm the noob, the roadie, so to say, of Destroyer. I've been with them for 6 months now. Before that, I have been in retail sales, eh, as opposed to some people might think, but for over 20 years myself, even though I don't necessarily look like it, as we've heard at some recent baseball meetings we were all at. But definitely, I can't say again to piggyback on what Carrie said. Haven't seen it all. Have seen my fair share of things. Um, Still learning and actually really excited about all the things that I have learned. Just being with Destroyer for 6 months and then being in hockey and working in the sports industry previously from that for 3 years. So
Fantastic. All right, well, let's get to the meat and potatoes here. I think as a marketing director, I'm always thinking about what's a hot product that maybe I haven't thought about that might be good giveaways. Obviously, it's going to be different for soccer to hockey to baseball to college athletics. So let's just kind of talk through a few that have kind of popped up on your radar that teams have done, and then we can obviously put your contact information inside the show notes. So if teams want to see these, they can reach out to you. But fire away.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start and just say that one of the things that I find, I get that question every year from almost every team. And so the way that we approach that is, I do set up individual meetings. I like to get to know the buyer. I like to get to know the team, some of the past items that have worked for them, some of the past items that maybe haven't been so great for them. We always want to get something that is going to give them a line out the door for tickets.
Hmm.
I love those text messages that I get with the photos from an office. Like, look what's going on. Everyone's waiting for these baubles. Love those. But I would say, as far as the new and exciting products, we find that most of the things that work are taking something that's very traditional and putting a spin on it. So we know for, I'm going to say 95% of our team's bobbleheads work. Bobbleheads are
Hmm.
huge. Fans love them. There's a million collectors out there. So what we like to do is try to figure out what we can do with the idea of the bobblehead. So maybe it's not just a player every year. Maybe we get into pop culture.
Hmm.
Maybe we get into something that's localized history, collector series. Maybe we go a little rogue from the bobblehead idea and we get into figurines and banks and one of my favorites, which is a wind-up walker. It's like the old
Hmm. You
vintage,
twist them.
you just
Hmm.
twist it and then the little feet wind. We had a team do that with all their mascots, and they did wind-up walker races because they did mascot races during their games. So it's just something like that I don't necessarily, again, being here for as long as I have been, I don't know that it feels new to me, but it might be new to a team. So I like to go through that whole gamut of, let's take this base group of products that are tried and true, and let's see what we can do with them. Are you having a night, a Star Wars night or something? Let's do a t-shirt that glows in the dark. Throw some glow in the dark ink on there. Same way with baseballs. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Um, the new stuff goes to some of the trendy, the trendier items. Um, the belt bags, the fanny packs, things like that.
Rock stars.
We see those
Mhm.
constantly. Yeah, everyone's all about the Stanleys these days. But I think that kind of goes a little bit beyond what somebody would want to give out unless they gave out like a Stanley, um, like a holder or something like that. So
Something like that. Hmm.
you can hop on the trends and spin it in a way so that it still stays within your budget.
Hmm.
And that's the other thing we do on the back end is we're always working with a budget, clearly.
Hmm.
Um, so we have a target of where we want to be. Where we can go with it may fall well beyond where your budget lands. But I always tell people to shoot for the stars and then let's pull back if we need to.
Hmm.
That way I get a feel for what they're interested in too and what they would like to see.
Totally. Heather, anything on your end?
Just kind of piggybacking on some of that when you are doing those specialty theme nights. I mean, again, it is not a one size fits all when it comes to what a team's wants, needs, and budget can be or is. And so, like if you were to do some sort of a Star Wars theme night, yeah, you can do. There's anything you can do. You could do glow in the dark bracelets if you wanted to do the colors of the Sith or
Hmm.
the Jedi or Empire and all that jazz. And you could do a glow in the dark bracelet, which would be a more affordable option. You could do a foam stick that lights up with different colors inside of it. You could even go as far as to do the lightsabers that go all the way out and go all the way in. Wizard nights, you could do wands and you could do house competitions. You could turn it into a collector's item. Honestly, do 4 different wand designs in the same box, make it a mystery promo. Like bring a big group and see if you can collect all 4 wands. Really just drive things in those regards.
Hmm.
But like Carrie was saying, that's where we have our conversations with the teams. What's your goal? How can we increase your ticket sales? How can we make this an item that people are going to come out for, not just this year, but be excited to be like, man, I can't believe I missed that night. I want to go next year, and I hope that they do it again next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Carrie, you hit on trends as you were talking. Trends are, you said pop icons. So, there's got to be, what are some examples of the pop icon trends? Obviously, the Stanley thing is a whole nother animal here, but going down the pop icon trend train here, what were some things that you saw?
So I have one team who hops on that train every single year, and they've been doing it since the beginning of time. So they oftentimes there was a movie that was filmed in their area, that Major League,
Hmm.
and so they pick a Major League movie and they do a character from that every year.
Mm,
So then that way, again, it's a collector's thing. You try to collect all of the Major League. One of the things that I find interesting is as soon as something goes out, you can just quickly go out to eBay and see all of the listings for the
pretty
baubles that
quickly.
were just given. Yeah. Um, so we've seen a lot of that. When it comes to like movies, we've seen a lot of people do stuff that pertains to like the Goonies.
Hmm.
Um, there are a few things you have to do. Obviously, you cannot infringe on any sort of licensing and whatnot. So we kind of look into that too, just to make sure that everybody's in, the safe zone there. But we'll look into movies. We'll look into. I'm doing something right now, which is very cool for a team that has a custom bronze figurine that is
Hmm.
being put into their town. So we're working with their local artist and we're recreating that in a miniature version,
Oh, that's cool.
and they're going to be handing that out this summer. So that I'm really excited about that one. Just both from the creative aspect of it, but also for the community aspect of it. I think that one's going to be very, very cool.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know, there's been some funny ones throughout the years. I've seen. This is going to be totally crazy, but just bear with me on this one. So there was a baseball team that a woman gave birth in the stadium. Um, Clearly not on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Clearly.
Let's
Yep.
just put that out
Are
there.
you sure that did
Yeah, it wasn't a promo. Um, but because of the, the publicity that it got locally, the next year they actually did a bobblehead of, I can't remember if it was the coach or the owner or somebody holding a baby up in the air like the Lion King. Uh, and the baby was bobbling as opposed to like the head being bobbling.
That's
It
awesome.
That was probably one that I will never forget,
Yeah,
ever
that's
forget.
that's fun. I think the more creative teams get with their giveaway items, the more publicity they get, the more people talk about it, and they become more and more collector's items rather than just a. We love the bobbleheads, and there's millions of people that collect them, but the more you get creative, the better it gets, it seems like, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's what I was talking before about, what's new and unique. Well, it's kind of how you approach it. So a bobblehead is not necessarily new and unique, but let's approach it in a way that is. And let's spin it so that people are like, wow, I didn't know you could do that, or I've never seen this before. That's the thing I like to look into when I'm designing something is I've never seen this before.
Hmm.
I like to open that door so that our customer knows that, I've looked. We've
Hmm.
never seen him doing this. We've never, he's never worn this outfit. He's never had this particular hairstyle. Just anything that we look at, the amount of features that we look into when doing bobbleheads are kind of crazy and maybe a little bit creepy at times, but it's fun. It's definitely fun.
So outside of bobbleheads, any other trends that you're seeing of some things that are pretty unique, pretty exciting?
I will say I thought of one other one that has really gained popularity as of late, and that is pickleball.
Hmm.
So one of the things that we're noticing, and we're working on a few projects right now, is pickleball paddles that
Hmm.
have, team logos on them, and also pickleball paddle covers.
Hmm.
So we've got some teams that are going to be giving those out, and I think that's going to be very, very fun. Um, I personally have not tried pickleball, but I have heard many good things about it. Um, but I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. If this is going to be one of those fleeting, trends that happens for a couple years and then we move to badminton or something, or if this is something that's going to stick. But it's just kind of fun to see how popular it has become just over the last 12 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy. Just kind of random story sideline here to veer and make this even longer than it probably should be. My dad growing up asked me and my brothers if we wanted a pool or if we wanted a pickleball court. And of course my brothers and I were like, no, we would want like a pool. We don't
We
we
have
don't want
pool.
a pickleball court. Guess who got a pickleball court? It was us. So if anybody's looking for a house in Washington with a pickleball court already there, you just let me know.
Good stuff.
And you got yourself a tournament all ready to set up. You're gonna make yourself thousands,
There you
millions.
go. There you go. Love it. Love it. So one of the trends that I've also noticed, I'm gonna throw a curveball at you, were squishmallows. So
Mhm.
McDonald's did a deal with squishmallows to be able to start doing that in Happy Meals. Is that another item that teams are coming to you going, hey, these are really hot with young kids. How do we do this?
So actually, we had something fun that we started to do when that became very popular. Plush in general, I think, has gained in popularity. I know that brand alone has become very popular with the kids, and just thinking about all of those things, we actually developed our own line of plush called Smashgots. And so what we're doing with Smashgots is very similar yet very different. We've got different sizes available. The customization is you take your mascots, you bring them to us. We work with an artist through one of our factories and come up with a rendering of what your smash or your mascot should be. Sorry, words are hard today. Um, and then you come together and we'll put it together in like a little round creature. And They're a little bit hard to sell without actually showing you what they are because they are so incredibly adorable. They've got more 3D features than what, the Squishmallows may have. They're a little bit more detailed. And we're finding that this is our second year of doing them, and they're huge. Um, we've got them in baseball and in hockey so far. Um, it's one of our most popular retail requests. It does take a little bit longer than a normal import order.
100 to 120 is probably a little bit
Yeah,
more than that. Mhm.
yeah, and I think that's been the only brick wall is just that when we show anyone what they look like, they instantly want them, but the timing just isn't right. So every time we get them out, every time we put them at a show, either we're going to get a slew of requests for them or we're going to get a slew of orders the following year for them. But that's been a really fun process to kind of put together and see. And I mean, it's one of those things that we're proud of as well. The only place you can get a smash got is from Destroyer. Um, there's many things that we can do with them, and we're actually hasn't been released yet, but we're actually in the process of designing some hockey smash gots. One of them happened to be a Zamboni.
Oh, that's fun.
So we're officially a Zamboni machine licensee, one of the only in minor league sports.
Hmm.
So that's going to be one of our next big projects that we're kind of getting ready to release.
So if
And
teams
that's
are
that's
interested in doing some sort of Zamboni giveaway,
mhm,
reach out to you two because you're one of the few that are licensed to be able to do something.
correct.
Otherwise, they're going to get themselves in trouble, right?
Correct.
Yes, yes, yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, those ideas there, and listen, creative, our conversations with Zamboni have been super fantastic. They want to see how creative people can get, and where what they can do with it and how much fun we can have with it. Everybody knows that we saw the gravy boat that
Mm.
came out not too long ago, and that's been a huge request. But they want more innovation and more design and stuff around it. So the more teams that we have conversations with creating stuff, the better and bigger that we can grow it. Definitely.
Yeah, fantastic. So, if teams are interested in looking at these smash cots, did I say it right?
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to put your contact information in the show notes because they'll just reach out to you. You'll send them images of what they look like and they can actually see what they are and sizing, what have you. So if Squishmallows is on the list of something like, hey, we really want to do this, going through that process with Squishmallows might be a lot more work than teams think. And this is a better
Yes.
alternative to go through you to be able to get something like this, either on retail or even just 1,000 pieces or 500 as a giveaway or whatever that would look like. So,
Yeah, and I mean the number one player on any team's bench that's going to be consistent year to year is your mascot.
yep.
So even if it does take, the time, and it's not like too terribly long, but we can have you set up and ready to go. It's easy to reorder. You can treat them like you would like Beanie Babies in the sense that every year you can put your smash got in a different jersey. We can get that design going. I have a couple of teams that I work with that do the different sizes. They do their away jersey in the small size, they do their home in a big size, so they have a travel guy, and they create social media campaigns and drivers and just try to get their team out there, and just more business to your website and more
Hmm.
business to your arena is more business to us. Our number one goal is to bring you business. So
Correct. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. You're in the business of helping teams sell more tickets. So,
Yes.
yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's for sure. Tried and true giveaways. We talked about bobbleheads, t-shirts. Do they still work?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And that's one of the things that I can say too. I'll kind of veer off just a minute and throw a little plug in here for our internal screen printing facility. So that's one of the things that's unique about us is that we do have a screen printing facility in-house. We do all of our printing in the Jacksonville, Florida area, and we again this it's internal, so we can handle all of the scheduling. We have kind of quote unquote made miracles happen for people when it comes to playoffs time, when you need something quick turnaround, or even if you've got like a last minute sponsor. that really wants to do something, whether it's a t-shirt or a rally towel, we have the ability and know how to turn things around quickly and get them to you so that you don't miss out on an opportunity as far as that's concerned. But yes, because of the fact that t-shirts do work and are crazy, that is what made us, get into the development of this in-house screen printing. We have not had that from the beginning. That started, I believe, don't quote me on this, I want to say 2012 is when that started. So it's been around for over 10 years. Um, and it's flourishing. I mean, we're doing a ton of stuff. We've got from t-shirt tosses to the retail business, which we've kind of mentioned a little bit of, but we've got a ton of retail business. So we do it from all aspects, whether you want the cheapest shirt available or whether you want a really nice quality, low quantity item that you can throw into your store. Um, we can kind of cover all of it.
Got it covered. So
Yeah.
t-shirts, what are some other tried and trues that the teams all you always are ordering that you just know works?
Hats.
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 Hmm.
Again, that follows the same routine. So hats can be designed in any way you can think of. And again, we look at that from two different perspectives, from a promotional hat to a retail hat, and in the same regard. The retail hats we want to be a lot higher quality materials, a lot lower quantities for minimum quantity availability. From a promotional side, I will say, we've got a target area of price that we want to be in. But just because I've been doing this long enough and I like to be proud of what we do, we don't use the quote unquote cheapest products out there to make our hats because we want every promo giveaway hat that we give out to be something that is going to be kept. Um, we don't want to get into the market of, trinket and trash sort of a thing, or we want something that people are going to want to keep and that they're going to wear and is going to wash and is going to look nice. So I'm very proud of our hats as well. I think that we do great promo hats. Um, we can get into crazy stuff like we can do rally hats for baseball, where they look like they're inside out, but they don't have that goofy flipped up bill. But you still have all of the taping and whatnot on the outside. So that's kind of a really cool and unique item. I'm trying to get that one to make a comeback because I haven't seen that out in a couple of years. So we're really going to be pushing that one this year on some of our baseball teams for a unique promo. Um, and then Heather, you might want to go into some of the full color stuff because that's been very popular um, when it comes to theme nights and alternate IDs and things like that.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not just baseball caps. There's all sorts of different hats and things that we can do. Bucket hats, kind of what Carrie, a lot of the teams that Carrie is kind of referring to is we have a reversible bucket hat, and you can do your full color on one side with your team logo, and it's a nice, clean looking hat. And then you flip it over, and you've got your crazy fun images on the background. It's fully supplemented, so we can design this to look anything in any way that you want it to. Sponsors included, sponsors not included. And then in another regard with that, when it comes to hats and the quality, like Carrie's talking about, from a retail standpoint, when I was managing my store, yes, I would order promo, but majority of the time, not actually most of the time, when I get a hat from Destroyer, I could take 250 of those from the promo giveaway night and I could put that into my store. So I'm double dipping. I've gotten a great price on it. I'm running a good 74% margin, if not more, selling this in my retail store. So you're giving out 1,000 to those first 1,000 people. Well, what about people that see that hat? You see it all the time on Facebook. Does anybody still have this hat from this promo night? I really want it. We weren't able to make it, or we got there too late and missed it. Well, you can go up to the store and you can buy the hat. You didn't make it in time. Fair, whatever. And we're not price gouging you in any
Sure.
way. But you're bringing back some of that investment, and you're driving traffic to the store, you're building your AT, you're building your SOT, and you're creating just that incentive again to bring people around and shop, because nobody just walks into the store, sees one thing and walks out. Oh, I didn't know they had that. Oh, I didn't know they had that. And that's where you start really building your bags.
So you just gave me a bunch of acronyms. I have no idea what they mean. I use the word average order value for someone who purchases something in the store. So you said ST and what was the other one?
Your AT is your average transaction, which is essentially
Okay.
what you were just talking about. And
Yep.
your SOT is going to be your sales over traffic. And this is something that I really pushed when I was working with my local hockey team here, just because you have 3,000 people that come into your stadium, right?
Hmm.
If you were in a mall, you've got 20,000 people in the mall, but maybe you're only capturing 200 people that walk into your store, right? So
Hmm.
you're running like a 10% SOT essentially, which is, or 1% actually, which not great. So when you're looking at having 3,000 people inside of your arena or your stadium, they're coming specifically to watch your team. So if you're not converting at least 50% of those people into your store or making a purchase while they're there, what's missing? Or do you not have the right product? Are you not priced at the right price range? Is the Are you out of sizes? Do you need to be looking at your reorder? It's looking at all of that stuff, and that's where my lovely background working with a Banana Republic Gap Inc., largest retailer in the world. So they teach you all the acronyms. So we could go on for hours about EPT and everything. Um, but are you not merchandising your store right? Your display? You can move, and Carrie can attest to this. Um, when I was visiting at the store that they help that she runs, we just re-merchandised the store, and shirts that had been sitting there for the entire season previously all of a sudden started flying off the rack, and people were like, "When did you get this in?" Oh, well, we've had it for 2 years now, two
Been
seasons.
sitting over
We
here and
just
we moved it
we
over
just
here.
moved it a
Yeah.
little bit.
Hmm.
Yeah, so re-merchandising and refreshing your store, honestly, every 3 to 4 months
Hmm.
is huge. It's clutch.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
going in that
S-
regard.
So we just drug people down the merchandise rabbit hole for sure.
Sorry.
So Heather, maybe you and I we do a separate because I talk to a lot of teams about how to get more out of their merchandise sales, specifically online efforts. But I think in store, in ballpark, in arena, so many good tips and tricks and just a checklist of things that folks can do. So maybe you and I chat offline and we schedule a merchandise call later. So, but
Yeah, we might. There's just tons of just little stuff that you can do without having to reinvest thousands of dollars. And you can, I mean, again, I raised for the last 3 years, year over year, an 18% increase in business sales. So
yeah.
that's pretty substantial when it comes to where they were at and now where their standard threshold is. And
Yep.
let me can tell you the ownership was pretty happy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, let's jump back to the promo giveaways. Season ticket gifts are always really popular. We're giving season ticket items, and oftentimes it's high perceived value items, but the teams are trying to be really save some dollars on these. They've got a budget they're working within. What are some good season ticket gifts that you've seen?
So what I've seen is quite an array of gifts from a monetary value, and I think that just depends again on what your fan base is, what your local area is like. I've seen anywhere from customized cups that you can work with your arena or your concessions vendor so that season ticket holders get free refills throughout the games, things along those lines. Um, Next level up would be even just doing something like a lanyard that would hold your credentials. Then I've seen teams that want to do whole packages, or they will do something where season ticket holders actually get 3 or 4 gifts periodically throughout the year to keep them coming in, just to keep them engaged, and to feel important. Because let's just be honest, to be a season ticket holder is to feel important. Um, and that being said, when we're designing things, that's the other thing that we like to do is put identifiers on products. So if you are going to get a lanyard, you want it to say in as big of letters as possible, I am a season ticket holder. Not literally, but that's basically what you want in any sort of a product. Some of the higher end stuff, and then the bigger hitters, I will say, we're getting into some of the jerseys. Even if you do a jersey replica, the nameplate on the back may say season ticket holder, um, and then that way that's something that no one else can buy, no one else can get, and it makes them feel very, very important. We've got hats that people do that will say season ticket holder maybe on the Velcro strap on the back. Um, in a baseball world, we have done seat replicas. So, and this has worked for some stadiums that maybe have gotten brand new stadiums or maybe are in their final years of a stadium where they're getting a new stadium. They want to memorialize their seats. Um, and this has been done from a promo perspective as well, not just season ticket holders. But the way that I've seen it flip-flop for both is that you develop a polyresin statue, just like the material we use for bobbleheads. We will do a replica of the actual seat, and then there will be an area designated on the seat that will be kind of, we'll make sure that the molding has a flat area for a sticker to be put on. And oftentimes the teams will create a sticker with a local vendor and put personalized nameplates or seat numbers or, anything that can identify that particular season ticket holder to their quote unquote seat for that year. Um, from the baseball perspective, like I said, we also like to put a little divot in the seat and design it in a size that it will perfectly hold a baseball. So it's just a little baseball holder. And those have gone over really, really well. Um, and I think it's one of those things that people see and they know, oh, yeah, I think I can do that. It's not super exciting until you see yours, until you see what you can do with it and how cool it looks. And everything is designed from the ground up. So if you don't like the way, this team's looked because of whatever, the way that their seat was designed, well, we can design yours however you want it to be. So we can make little changes here and there too. But those have always been some of the fun ones that I've seen.
And just to piggyback kind of what Carrie was talking about with the seats and holding the baseball, you could do it, with the hockey puck and everything as well. We have customized packaging that we can put all of these things in too, so that you can have it in a clamshell window. So it's not sitting just out on a shelf, but it looks like a collector's memorabilia item with your custom everything on it in a clamshell, perfectly in this plastic, so to speak, for all those collectors out there.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
And one thing too, I'll throw out there, and Jeremy, I know you got to witness our Hawaiian shirts at the last show
Oh
we were all
yeah.
at together. And that one I can say ties into almost every other category that we have talked about. The Hawaiian shirts have been done in every category, from promos to retail, season ticket holders. Again, we can do them. They don't have to be Hawaiian. We have done them with like a comic book theme to them, even just team, step and repeat logos. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a Hawaiian background. Um, and I think that is a really fun idea too for a season ticket holder, that they would have a really cool looking button up shirt, collared shirt. And then maybe it has the season ticket holder logo or just the word season ticket holder throughout the pattern of the shirt, which would always be a very welcome gift, I'm sure, for any season ticket holder.
And I suspect those Hawaiian style shirts are going to be popular with the passing of Jimmy Buffett. I suspect more teams are going to do Parrot Head nights and Jimmy Buffett tribute nights. You're going to see a lot more of those this year. And then it's great to know that you can be really creative with what's printed on there. So that's pretty
Mhm.
slick.
Our,
Yes.
our art department absolutely just loves doing the Hawaiian shirts.
Uh-huh.
I've talked several times with them, and it's the most fun that they can have with the
Mhm.
design, because the creative freedom there is pretty much limitless. You
Hmm.
give them your colors or the logos you want to use, and if you want them to be creative, they go all out thinking about different things. You can be as specific as you want, or yeah, you can just, like me, I'm very business oriented. I'm not creative. I leave that to Carrie and the others. They have that mindset. I don't. I'm just like, A goes to B.
Love it, love it. One other thing that popped in my head as we were talking here is pins. Season ticket holders are routinely pin collectors. So it could be inaugural game or all-star game or whatever it may be. Is that typical a retail item, or do you see teams doing that as some sort of season ticket gift? Or a little bit of both?
I would say more on the retail area. We have seen a like a season ticket holder pin program.
Hmm.
where I had mentioned that sometimes they will do gifts throughout the season. I believe it was a baseball team designed a pennant, and each pennant had a little section on it for each pin that was given out throughout the season. And so that way, by the end of it, they had a really nice collector's item that was a full-size pennant that had a bunch of lapel pins. I want to say there might have been 7 or 8 of them throughout the year that they've gotten that they just popped on that pennant, and then that was their keepsake for the year. So that was kind of a really cool idea. Um, I think from a retail perspective, you get more people than just a season ticket holder interest. I know that there have been pin programs and pin exchanges that go on with the magical world of
Disney.
Disney
Yep.
World and Disneyland, and I think that that has kept the lapel pin alive.
Hmm.
Um, People like to do those. They like to trade them. They like to, just to wear them around and keep them on lanyards and, things like that. So I think that's one of the things. It's got a little bit of a smaller window of popularity than, some of the other things, but I think it's going to be one of those things that's always going to have that little window. I
Hmm.
think it's always going to be there. We're always going to have people that want them. So we keep those alive in retail.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
hats. I've got some fans and things that I see pretty typically. I know personally myself, I've even done it with the rivets at the top of my baseball caps and
Hmm.
things. I put those in there. So again, you can start your season off with a pretty sweet baseball cap for your season ticket holders, and then you release those five because it would be the five rivets in the hat,
Hmm.
throughout the season, and then there's your kind of your collector's thing. They can wear it. It's marketing and advertising for you. I think when it comes to season ticket holder gifts, you should want to get something that's quality and something that they want to wear and want to use. Um, I've had hockey teams that have done beach bags and things like that. So you're promoting your team inside your season, but when they're on vacation at the
Hmm.
beach, they're bringing their beach bag and people are like, "Oh, what's so and so team?" And then they're talking about their team. You can
Hmm.
put your QR code on shopping totes and make a shopping tote your bag, your vessel that you put everything in when people are at the grocery store right then and there. It's just advertising. How can we help you get as much exposure as possible while also giving your season ticket holder something that they are proud to
Yep.
carry around or wear?
Absolutely. Talking with Carrie and Heather from Destroyer. They're found at Destroyer.Rocks. Destroyer's just a promotional giveaway and merchandise company here, but such great creativity, lots of ideas. You're seeing a lot of different things from teams. Over the last few years, it's been alternate identities have started to take shape. A lot more teams are playing 1 game, 2 game, 3 games a year as some sort of alternate identity. And then the Copa project, obviously in minor league baseball. What are some things on the alternate identity world that you've seen that have been really successful for teams?
I think Heather touched on it before when we were mentioning hats, is that one of the most popular things that we do are the reversible bucket hats.
Mhm.
And that's just kind of a fun way to get kind of a twofer project in there. You've got your standard color team side with an embroidered logo. You flip it over, and it can be whatever. We do find a lot of people are using that for their alternate identities, or if they have a Hawaiian night or something like that, because they're fully customizable. Um, with the identity nights, we're finding that people want to do something that's collectible. Just because it may be a one-off night. It may be something where if you don't get this particular item, you will never get anything with that logo on it again. So you want to make sure that it's good, it's something that people will keep, um, and it will become part of their collector series from whatever it is that they're collecting. We have done tin signs or metal signs, which I think is a really cool idea for that. Just like a little 12-inch metal sign that looks like the old antique vintage bar
Mhm.
signs that you would see. I think those look really, really cool. We've also done things in the bobblehead perspective. We do a lot of Copa bobbleheads. You're getting into your sugar skulls and things like that, which have become wildly popular. I know a lot of the the bobblehead collectors out there are constantly looking for new Sugar School baubles. Um, T-shirts are always something that if all else fails, let's do a T-shirt toss night. Um, they'll throw a X amount of shirts throughout the game. Um, Trying to think what else we have done with the alternate identity. A lot of them have been hats, to be quite honest with you, hats and T-shirts or wearable type
Wearable stuff.
items. Yeah.
Jeremy, you wouldn't know anything about anybody collecting baubles, right?
Uh, so yeah, having worked in sports for 20 plus years, you get to know people who randomly show up and you're like, you only show up because of bobblehead days, and you get to know them a little bit. So we do, you do kind of build relationships with folks who buy season tickets or buy just single game tickets just to get the bobbleheads. And some people are just banana crazy about one specific team's bobbleheads. Like I only have the Sacramento Rivercats bobbleheads, or only the Stockton Ports, or the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, or whomever it may be. But then you get the other ones that are just the crazy eBay guys who go in there buying everything from everyone. So yeah, it's all over the map for sure. But yeah, bobblehead collections are really it's wild. It is nuts, absolutely nuts. And then they add the figurines to it, so it just makes it even crazier. Yeah, so that's for
Yes,
sure.
I dove into the world of the bobblehead collectors a couple years ago. I did a podcast with one of the big hitters there, and just just to speak with them and talk to their group um, about what they're looking for and kind of what they talk about and what their little meetings are about. They even like to develop their own. So
Really?
we've worked with a couple of them, and they just develop their own baubles. I think it immerses them into this field of, what they love. And while maybe they can't do it on the large scale of what some of the baseball teams or the hockey teams do, we'll still work with them and get something that they can be super proud of and get out to their community. And they've gone over really well, really well.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Well, Heather, Carie, we've covered a lot, lots of big takeaways. We talked about hot products, some ideas in your process, which is marvelous. We talked about how teams can be a little bit more creative with some of their giveaway items. Obviously, the tried and true ones still work, but there's some things that you can do to be even more creative with those if you'd like. We talked about season ticket gifts, alternate identities. We've covered the gamut. So if teams are interested in talking to you two about, hey, I'm looking to add something to my merchandise store, or I'm looking to add these different types of giveaways, what's the easiest way to get a hold of y'all?
Yeah, I would say we would love to have little individualized meetings with each team, each buyer. And you can email me at Carie, Carie, at Destroyer.Rocks, or Heather at Destroyer.Rocks. And again, we just love to set up some calls and chit chat about what has worked for you in the past, maybe what hasn't worked so great for you, what you've done, what you haven't done, and let's take it and expand upon it. And I always say, pick my brain. I've been doing this for many years. There's much more in my brain than I could put in an actual email or in a catalog. So I thoroughly enjoy talking to people and just kind of seeing what's out there and what would fit within their category and designing something that's a little bit more unique to them.
Yeah, 20 plus years of experience for both of you. You've seen so much that you probably have forgotten more than what teams know. So the more that they can ask you questions and pick your brain, I think that's such a great wealth of information. But I'm going to make sure I put your emails in the show notes so if teams are interested, they can reach out, have conversations, and then look for their home run or their wonderful giveaway that packs the stands and gets a long line around the building. That's the goal, right?
Yep,
Yes,
always.
absolutely. I look
Awesome.
forward to the emails that tell me how are we going to top this next year, Carrie?
Yep.
Yep.
And I get several of those, and I know that we've done something really special.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate you two coming on the podcast, and looking forward to seeing what progresses on the promo item world as the year goes on.
All right. Thanks for having us.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Jeremy.